Hi everybody, welcome back to Connerty Meadows Farm. For those of you who don't know, my name is Ricky and today we're just going to do a garden video tour. I was reminded that I have not done a garden tour in a good month. Like we are July 28th or something like that, and I think the last one I did was in June, so it's time for a tour. Come on, let's go. I'll show you around. We're starting over by the house side again today, switching it up a little bit, and I'll take you through and show you all the things that have changed. Here is our row of blueberries. Everybody is looking pretty good. The one that's netted still has a little bit of blueberries left over on it. This little guy over here gave us blueberries. And then, of course, when I was shopping the other day, I found another blueberry variety that I don't have, and I really liked it. The blueberries are a lot different in color than most of them. Fabulous. I will be doing a video on how I plant this blueberry plant for those of you that are interested, so stay tuned for that. Look at them. Deliciousness. Here is the strawberry bed that we put in last fall. It's doing pretty good. There is a video on that as well. Blueberry there, blueberry there. Look, the asparagus beds are done. If you missed the video on how we made them, that is also on the channel. Have a peek. And here you can see I've got all the strawberries in. The asparagus is doing really well. Everybody seems pretty happy here. And our nice little hedgerow flowers up there. And here we are, the front lawn. So rose bush over here, the one I brought with us from our old farm, gave off a lot of really beautiful blooms. I certainly do love her. She's setting off a whole lot of new greenery, and some lavender in the peonies, white rose bush, new greenery on it too. It kind of got completely obliterated by bugs, but 'tis the way it goes. Some radish gone to seed, but that's okay because the seed pods are delicious to eat. I've harvested the basil here a number of times. Oh, look, that's one of our honeybees. I don't know if you can see it. We did get our honeybees. Got some kale up here. My bay leaf plant. Lemongrass. I've harvested the thyme. It's inside drying. Lots of chamomile here as well. Front garden beds are doing really awesome. My sister-in-law moved or will be moving here out to BC, and so she had all of these Rose of Sharon. Some of them are from me, some of them are from my mother-in-law, so we dug them up and potted them here, and I will be finding a home for them. Then I have some comfrey in pots here. I just brought this blueberry home with me. Yes, I needed another one. Cackalack here. This is where our meat chickens go. We don't have any in here at the moment. They're in the garage. Let's have a look at the front garden beds. We're really enjoying the arch here. It always looks so pretty. And look at all these flowers. I know I've not ever been much of a flower person, more of a veggie person, but I'm really learning to like them. Oh, look at these guys. My cement mixer got buried in the back. We were actually due for a storm today. It's come and gone. Once again, no rain. The storm clouds part, I think, when they go around, and they don't get us. So this is a new for me this year. These are straw flowers. We're really enjoying them, the kids and I. I don't know if you've never seen a straw flower. They're very cool. Got a few different kinds here. But the thing that's really cool about them, here, let me see if I can bring one up to the microphone here. You hear that? That's what they sound like. But they make beautiful everlasting flowers. So they dry up really well. And these ones I'm purposely letting go like this because this one is starting to go to seed. And I'm going to be collecting the seeds. So you can see we have this pink variety here, and then we've got the red ones, and then we've got this darker pink, these dark purples, and then super dark purples. All very beautiful, and we are quite happy with them. All these guys here, they're going to seed too. This is lovely. I will be saving these. My rose row up there, it's got some roses coming in on it. And I've been watching all of these guys. They're giving me some beautiful hips here. Look at all of them. I'm going to make wonderful rose hip tea. And I also interplanted some sunflowers that had planted themselves in the wrong spots on my yard. I figured it was a good way to put them somewhere where they can still be seen. I harvested all the mint from in here the other day. Grapes are going up, climbing rows, and I did grab this soil from the garden when I originally planted this, and there was some volunteer tomatoes, so I thought that was kind of funny. Look at who came back. So we thought this one was completely dead. Then I noticed some growth from below the root line, and she's come back. She's smaller blooms. She's not the same as what the top part was grafted to her, but she's given a very similar rose to what she was supposed to be. So pretty excited about that. She's doing really well there. This side was the same. So again, when I planted this section of the bed here and I put in the climbing rose and the grapes, I took the soil from the garden because I didn't have any other soil at the time. There was a lot of volunteer tomatoes in that soil. So I've just left them because I'm all about doing that. This one I think is the Berry Blue from Baker Creek, which is actually one of my favorite tomatoes anyway, so works out well for me. Zinnias, we've been drying a lot of them. We've got Cosmos in here as well. We've got some dahlias, and then I have Yarrow in here, and then I did have a couple poppies, but very nice. There's more in the rose hedge there. And then we have our herb spiral. I've got a lot of the parsley drying in the house, and I've left this go to seed for the bees, as you can see. Yesterday this was just covered in bees. I've left this one go to seed as well. I've got to get this. I'm going to make some basil tea, and the tea tastes best when it's in flower. So I'm actually going to combine the purple basil, and then I have some lemon basil that I picked up here the other day, and it is absolutely amazing. So I can't wait to try that in the tea as well. And that kind of, look at the size of my snowball bush. So that kind of just sums up the front of the house here. I'll just pan you around. You can have a look. Of course, my chandelier, which I still love as much as the day I got it out of the dumpster. So yeah, that's the front of the garden. Let's head on over to the rest of the garden. So that would be a new addition for those of you that don't know. That is going to be our future new sugar shack. You can see our lovely redneck sugar shack there behind it, literally just a piece of tin over the evaporator. We just want to sand and paint that evaporator before we move it into here because it's really heavy. And then I think I'm going to take probably a couple of those Rosa Sharons and put maybe one there and one there just to dress it up a bit. I think it'll look really nice, expanding the garden area, I guess. And here we are. So in front of this little garden shed, or beside it here, I have some flowers, and I also have some jewelweed there. And there's a huge wasp nest in our chipper, so no chipping anytime soon. And here's the garden. Strawberries, this is the year 3 where they are. So at the end of this season in the fall, all of these strawberries will be dug out and they'll be moving to the other side of the garden. Usually every 3 years, just flip sides. All the peppers in pots are doing awesome. You can see we have some ready to harvest here. So these ones are all hot peppers. This row is sweet peppers, hot peppers, and then there's some sweet peppers in here. This is wild raspberries, also called black caps. Normally I would not allow them to grow in the middle of the garden here like this, here and here. But I knew that I would be digging up all of these strawberries this fall. And at the back of the shed here, there is some black caps also growing. So I'm going to allow them to grow there. But when I dig up all of these strawberries, I'm also going to dig up these raspberries and plant them over there. I thought that would be a good way to save them because we really, really, really enjoy them. Oh, hello, Ash. What you doing, buddy? Oh, big stretch, eh? Hey, bud. How are ya? Oh, yeah. Got to get some scritches in, huh? He's my garden cat. He's always hanging out in the garden, guarding it from all the ferocious, I don't know what's. Not doing any good getting those cucumber beetles. All right, and then here is our bean trellis. So on the bean trellis, I have Kentucky Wonder, Blue Lake, and Purple Peacock. 3 of my favorite. They produce really, really well. And saving the seeds on all 3 of them. The seeds all look different, so very easy for me to do. And then this is tomatoes. I finished trimming and tying again yesterday. Usually about once a week I trim and tie. Here we had broccoli. I have dug it all up and I've planted kohlrabi. I do have some volunteer tomatoes down there in amongst with the bush beans. And then I have corn here, and my pumpkins and squashes have gone wild. But that's okay. That's why I usually plant them with the potatoes and the corn, and they meander their way through the potatoes, as you can see, and they meander their way in through the corn. On the upright trellises, let's see if I can get a little closer here. So on these upright trellises, I have some watermelon, and you can see there's one down there. And I also have butternut squash. So again, butternut squash and watermelon over there. So, and it looks like I just need to take and tuck that up. So they'll be able to climb up there, and then they kind of crawl along the top, and then they come back down usually. And I've got some squash in here, Hubbard Squash, and my potatoes. And I'm standing beside some raspberries, which are looking quite delicious. Time to get back out. So these 2 here, we have some patty pans in here. And then this one here is a blue Hubbard, which is what you saw all the way over there. And then I have an orange Hubbard down on the other side, and I'll take you around and show you there. And there's my guard cat in with my raspberries, which also has our other arbor. I'm going to take you down one side of the garden and we'll talk a little bit about stuff, and then we'll go around to the other side. We got some peas. So this is a new one for me this year. I couldn't help but buy them. Purple peas. Their flowers are purple as well. I don't see any flowers in on here, but I thought it was really neat. The regular, now these are shelling peas, and these ones are too, but they're purple, and I just thought that they were really pretty. Mixed in amongst the regular ones. See? Such a guard kitty. Hey, buddy. You're distracting me. and my fountain that I painted this year. You'll notice my trellises are blue to match the fountain. Got some dill here. I've already made my pickles for the year. I bought a bushel because mine didn't do very well, but I will be saving the dill seeds from what I didn't use. This is lovage, and it's kind of gone to seed too, which I usually allow it to do so that I can collect some. In the middle of the garden here, I have left these milkweeds. This is for the butterflies. We raise, tag, and release them, and I do have videos all about that. Look at these babies. I love these ones. Beautiful black beauties. And these ones are the sweet peas, not for shelling, and I'm just saving the seeds. That's why they're looking pretty awful. I don't want to yank them out. This is ginger mint. I've harvested my regular mint. Now I gotta come in and harvest ginger mint. I was really hoping that I would find apple mint because mine did not come back, but haven't had any luck this year, so maybe next year. And this was all comfrey. I've harvested the comfrey and I've actually fed it to the cow and the goats, and they all loved it. Oh look, we have some company. How's everybody doing over there? Hey? They're all watching us. An apple tree here. This tree was much bigger, but we put the cow in here and she had a chomp. And then, let's see if I can focus in on for you. That is a mulberry, and that is a mulberry. And again, they were both a lot taller, and the cow had a bunch of them. This is this new raspberry patch that I put in this year, and it's looking really healthy and good. Some of the raspberries that we ordered didn't come up, so that was a little hard, but I transplanted a lot of shoots from the other raspberry patch over here. This is a volunteer. We sometimes feed pumpkins to the rabbits, and a seed obviously fell down in their poop, which happens to be really well fertilized. And we've got some pumpkins going on in here, so we've just let it go. We like volunteers, but you can see we've got some baby pumpkins in there. I think these were pie pumpkins. So, and my daughter has a fun time. She's got a little stepping path to get in. It's quite hilarious, actually. And look at the sunflowers over there by the chicken coops. You see my nice painted chicken coops? I'm not fully done, but we're getting there. Look, here we go. I got some more tomatoes, another volunteer sunflower. I don't tend to like them to grow in the garden, but if I miss them and they're already big, I just let them go. I took out a whole bunch of calendula yesterday. They were taking over this garden in here, and I wanted to make sure the carrots and the celery had room to grow, so I yanked most of them out. The rhubarb, and I've let some of it go to seed. I'm going to actually be saving some of these seeds, so this is what your rhubarb plant starts like. Teeny tiny seed. And they do grow from seed. I've grown a number of them from seed. And this garlic needs to be pulled up. That is today's job. What are you guys doing? Go to bed. You're not supposed to be out here. That's actually purple yarrow. And this is a hot plant. We brought it with us from our old place, and it has just done a big job taking over. Some sunflowers, comfrey. Anybody want some comfrey? There, here we go. I love this stuff. Beautiful, beautiful yarrow. Look at the color. Isn't that something? And then in here we have some borage. Bees really love it. Back here we have some blackberries. So I was actually able to find 4 new blackberry plants and planted them where we had blackberries last year. We also added one more layer of wood and dirt so that it will hopefully put all the extra tomatoes that I didn't sell or give away over here. And usually what I try to do is any tomatoes that come out of here are usually for donation or food bank or something along those lines, just because these are usually extras. Oh, this is the blonde, I can't remember, I don't know how to pronounce the name of this tomato plant, but this thing gives you more tomatoes than you will ever know what to do with. They're cherry tomatoes, and they're blonde something or other. Anyway, I will put the spelling on the screen, but they are very, very cool and very prolific. And here's our apple orchard. You'll notice underneath the trees of each of them, so those back 5 are cherry, and then the rest of them are all apple. And underneath the bottom, you'll see each of them have a comfrey. Comfrey's really, really good companion. We also have here, you'll see that we have strips of stuff, and I'll take you down and show you. This strip over here is blueberries. And they were pretty thirsty. I've been trying to keep everything watered. The reason why their leaves are starting to go off color is because they are pretty thirsty. I just need to get more water onto them. I was really hoping that storm rolling through would drop us some rain, but it didn't, so I'll be watering again. And these are all haskaps. So I have a number of them, so every other variety. So this variety is the same as that variety, and this variety and that variety are the same, and so on and so forth all the way down, because with haskaps you need a male and a female to pollinate. The great thing with haskaps though is that both the male and the female produce fruit. The one thing actually I haven't showed lately in any garden tours, because honestly I keep forgetting about them, is this row here. And you can see I have, again, I just put a whole bunch of volunteer sunflowers in them, but this here is elderberry. So the first year we moved in, I just took the stick and I stuck it in the ground. And while the stick died off, that year it produced enough roots that it popped over and rooted some new elderberry. So this whole row here, you'll see elderberry plants mixed in with sunflowers that I've brought along. And they've actually, some of them are on year 3. They've grown enough to produce some berries this year, which is really nice. Actually, it was really pretty when they were all in bloom. But the birds are probably going to get most of these berries. I do have the tree in the back though, so it's okay. But yeah, you can see here, they're doing really well. This one, I actually took this whole big stick here the first year and I shoved it in the ground, and then it just sent off a whole bunch of little shoots. And there we go, we have elderberries. So my hope is eventually this whole row here, elderberries can grow 10 to 12 feet tall, and I'm hoping this will be like a little block from the road just to give us a little more privacy here. But so there we have some more haskaps. So we have Borealis and Aurora. So this one would be Aurora and this one would be Borealis all the way down. And we've left that section open because oftentimes we come with a vehicle through here and down the middle, down to working down there. All right, and then over here, we have some more haskaps. Now do keep in mind, some of these haskaps were purchased last year or the year before, like those ones. And then this is a bare root one. Oh, Goocher and Ash. So the bare root ones are obviously quite a bit further behind than the bigger ones. I believe most of these ones I purchased end of year from Canadian Tire last year, and I paid like a couple bucks for them. So that's why they're also so much bigger. But so you can see, I definitely see the difference over here. This little guy, poor thing, wasn't doing so well. Hey, little chickens. Leave my chickens alone, Ash. All right, so for this side, here on these arches, I have some yellow climbing beans. So they're looking like they're almost ready. I love growing beans on the arches. We've decided next year that the teepee, the bean teepee that we've made, we're actually going to switch it up a bit. I'm going to grow all of my beans on the arch trellis like this. I might leave maybe a quarter of the bean trellis in beans, but the rest of it we're going to change into growing cucumbers. For some reason, the cucumbers never seem to grow very well on the arches. Like, that was all cucumbers. They're not doing so hot. Literally, like, this has been in the ground since the beginning of the summer, and that's it. That's all I got. That's it. So we really need to switch up where they are. Everything that's in the in-ground garden, climbing wise, seems to be doing a lot better. So we're gonna switch it out. The beans are doing really, really well on this arch trellis, as you can see. So we're gonna go ahead and just keep doing the beans on the arch trellis and put the cucumbers in the garden. It's a thing that you do. Every year you change it up and you see what works. And I just write notes in my garden journal and I just say, you know what, this didn't work for this year. Let's try it next year. I gave it 3 years on these trellises, even with amending the soil and doing all the things that you're supposed to do. I think it just dries out faster, to be honest with you, and the in-ground garden doesn't seem to dry out as fast. So we'll switch it, try it, see what happens. That's all what gardening's all about. Just change it up every year and see how it goes. All right, so down here, you can see all of these going to seed. This is radish that's gone to seed, and these seed pods are delicious. You gotta get them when they're young and green. But they're really, really good. And they taste like radish, but they don't have quite the same bite to them. I like to pick them and use them in stir fries. So that's primarily what we use these for. Quite tasty. Now, if you leave these to go brown, then you can pull the seeds out of them. And they're great for planting, so you don't ever have to buy seeds again for radish. Oftentimes too, I'll just let them go to seed and leave them die out on the ground. And in the spring, early spring, they will have self-seeded this bed themselves. I don't even need to plant them. I actually love it when things self-seed. So these are carrots I left in the ground last year. I've purposely left them in. I'm going to be collecting these seeds. For those of you that were wondering, seeds that I had saved from carrots did grow. They did take quite a bit longer to come up because I didn't pull the seeds out of the seed pods, but they did grow. These tomatoes I haven't trimmed and tied yet. As you can see, they're kind of gone crazy. So these cucumbers were covered in calendulas. All in the front here, you actually couldn't even see the cucumbers. There were so many calendulas. So I cleaned them all out. These cucumbers are doing okay. I planted these much later in the season. I started them inside and had them inside for quite a while. I was hoping I could avoid the cucumber beetles that way, but again, they're just not like what I'd like to see. So I will be switching it out next year. These are a Daikon radish, and I've let a few of them go to seed. They're big and purple. They still taste like a radish, but they're just much bigger and they're much better roasted. And the Daikon ones have like a purple seed pod. Still very tasty. And I will be saving a lot of the seeds. The seed pods for the daikons taste like what you would expect the hot radishes from the garden to taste like. Same kind of idea. Very, very good. But whew, you can tell it's a radish. I love them. But it's that very puckery radish flavor to it. But the flowers are beautiful. And the bees just love them. So I don't mind letting this happen. It does make the garden look a little unruly, but small price to pay. Oh, look at this. I'm standing beside the raspberries. Now, before you grab a raspberry straight off the plant, check it. The other day, I was just grabbing raspberries and chucking it in my mouth. Stink bug, really disgusting. Don't do that. I don't recommend. This is really nasty. On the other side of the raspberries, just to give you an idea, yeah, they're kind of crazy tall. Again, it's absolutely crazy. So the kids have swing sets here, and I just planted over here a very beautiful honeysuckle. We had honeysuckle at our old farm, and I had tried to put the grapes around this, as most of you know. The grapes all got drowned out, so now I'm trying honeysuckle. Mind you, I had the grapes on the inside where those posts are, and as you can see, the raspberries have kind of gone crazy, so it's not a wonder that they got drowned out, and that's why they're on the front arbor. And I put a honeysuckle here. This one gets really, really big and tall. I'm really hoping it'll go up and over and arch over this. We had a honeysuckle at an archway at our old farm, and it was quite beautiful. But you can see how tall things are in here. Oh, look. Make sure there's no stink bugs. I'll give you the experience of walking through this. The kids do like to sit in here on their swings and just swing. Now that light right there is a solar chandelier. The kids just love coming in here at night and hiding away, swinging on their swings, doing things kids do. And then we have, again, some squash, some potatoes. I think this part of this plant got into my corn, and I think the other day when I was trimming and tying this guy up, I might have broke the stem for it, so that's why those are looking a bit wilty. Corn is looking like it's pretty close to being ready here. So the corn that I found that works best here is called Early Canadian. It's a sweet corn, and it does pretty well. We've grown it for a number of years now. It seems to outgrow pretty much everything else. So that's the one we stick with. I do try some other kinds, Bootylicious and a few other ones, but that's sort of the one that I go to the most. Now this was supposed to be a Hubbard Squash, maybe the orange Hubbard. And I'm not seeing lots of male flowers. Not seeing a lot of female flowers. Doesn't mean they're not there, just... Anyway, tomatoes coming along. I saw one that was blushing the other day. I was pretty excited. I'm desperately waiting for my first toasted tomato sandwich of the season. Still pretty good size though. I don't know if you can have an idea of how big that is. Still a pretty good size. And I have a volunteer sunflower there too. There. And I put these guys here. They just look pretty. Oh, look. The purple peacock flowers. Whole beans come in a little bit later than bush beans. Like the bush beans here, we've already had a few little harvests out of. And the pole beans take a little bit longer for the harvest to come in. But once their harvest does come in, it's a continual harvest, like right through basically until the frost kills them. And so I get a lot more out of the beans this way. And the other reason why I like the pole beans is just because I don't get them all at once. I can do multiple decent sized batches. I mean, with the amount that we plant, this whole thing is all bush beans or pole beans on both sides. We do get a lot of beans, so it gives me a lot of time to put them in the freezer, to can them, to do all sorts of, pickle them, but not all like, here's a bean harvest and you want to die because you don't get to sleep because there's so many of them all at once. It just staggers it a little bit. We still get an obscene amount of beans, it's just staggered. So the plan is that I would probably only do from like that all the way over in beans on both sides, the rest on the arches, and then the whole rest of this I'm going to run some chicken wire up and down the other side. I have some spare chicken wire, and then we'll be growing our cucumbers and some of our squashes and stuff on there. That's the plan. We'll see how that works next year. And here, oh, look at the size of this pepper. Peppers were never a success for me until I started growing them in pots. And now look at this. That is a huge pepper, and it is a King of the North pepper. This is a really great variety for those of us in Canada who have short growing seasons. That said, I did start these February or March, I want to say. So all of these are King of the North. You can see they're all pretty good sized peppers for here. And then the other ones that I like to grow here are these lipstick ones. They're more thin wall, but they're very sweet, and they can get to be a decent size. And we also have, oh, this is the chocolate ones, so they'll go brown. They have an amazing flavor to them. And we got over here. These guys are turning color apple, I think. I'm gonna say these are probably apple. Oh, that's chocolate too. That's the apple. Got some weeds here. I think they stay on top of it, eh? And then you do something like this and you're like, oh, there's weeds. Oh, there. And you can see this is all Thomas's hot peppers. We definitely have some we need to pick here. Not the Viper. We make hot sauce with all of his peppers. These beauties. These purpley ones. Yeah. They're pretty neat looking. He's pretty excited for this harvest this year. So that's that, kind of the tour of both sides of the garden. It is going nuts, which is kind of normal for here. So we amend our soil in the fall. We clean out the chicken coops, and we clean out all the rabbit hutches, and all of that poop will go on this garden after I rip everything out. And that's one of the reasons why I have much bigger harvests here, I think, than in my raised beds. The raised beds are still really good, and I tend to put rabbit poop on them. The other thing we do is all winter long, after we're done burning the wood, the ash comes out and gets spread around the garden. So this year I'm going to make a conscious effort to make sure ash gets put on the raised beds, and I'm also going to make sure that chicken poop get put on the raised beds, because it seems that's what they're lacking. Not that the raised beds aren't growing well, just that the in-ground seems to be growing a smidge better, just a little bit. The other reason might be that the raised beds dry out faster than the in-ground, so I don't know. It's a learning curve every year. Thanks for hanging out with us today on the farm as we did the garden tour. Any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to answer them. See you next time.